gonna see what we can do about the timing on it now. I think it's advanced a little too much. Reason it's popping back through the carburetor. His head's been shaved, so it'll be a little higher compression. So it shouldn't need as much advanced timing or initial timing as stock engine would. I don't know how much they've been shaved, so I'm just going to guess around 8 degrees initial timing, and we'll see how that does. There's marks on the harmonic balancer already. I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper, clean it up good, and then take a piece of soapstone and rub over it real good, and then wipe off the excess, and that should highlight all the markings. Now, first thing we got to do after that, we got to find top dead center, and partly because the little pointer that goes on the front of the engine's not there, and harmonic balancers have a piece of rubber in them. They're actually two pieces. There's a piece of rubber in there to help cushion the vibration and shock, and it can over time work its way around and won't be accurate. So just to make sure, I'm going to find top dead center, make a mark, or if I can find a pointer on one of my other engines that'll work, I'll use that. But either way, we'll figure it out. Looks like there's already a mark right here. Now this rag's a little bit damp because it got rained on. But should do the trick. Yeah. See how you can see the marks there now. That distributor running off the camshaft is going to turn counterclockwise. So with your distributor turning counterclockwise to advanced timing, you want to turn the outer part of the distributor clockwise. That'll advance timing. You turn it counterclockwise, and that'll retard timing. And an easy way to figure it out. It can be confusing sometimes. You turn it clockwise, it's going to advance the point that the rotor button comes around to make a spark. So, and then if you retard the timing, the rotor button's going to have to travel further to make a spark. Right. Pull that number 1 plug, and I'll find me a straw or something I can stick down in there that's not going to bind and hurt anything. Maybe a zip tie or something like that. Just something so I can feel where the piston comes all the way to the top, and then the point where it's top dead center. Should be able to feel it stop moving. Okay, right there, top dead center. I'm just gonna make a mark and try to eyeball it right here on the water pump here. That's about 10. So we'll try that. can just go just a little bit before it. We'll use this antique timing light here. It'll work. Yeah, look at that. Don't seem like that no more. There's probably a reason, but this will work. See where we're at now. Okay. That's okay. Maybe that'll help. Can't hurt. Yeah, I don't like doing that. All right, got a piece of bronze. Help minimize as much damage as possible on this thing. Well, for now, the timing may just be there. Someday I'll get a HEI distributor for it. There's one in the trunk I may be able to make work that came with the car, but I'm not sure about what I might be wrong with it. I know the gear is messed up on it. The cam gear on it has been ground off. Probably stuck on there and somebody tried grinding it off to get it off and just didn't get it all the way off. So they could have messed it up, but I can get another one. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna crank it and let it run some more. I don't know if that carburetor needs adjusting or if I just need to put a different one on there. I think that one's dumping too much fuel. Not spitting back as much as it was. Looks like I got another transmission leak. Yep, sure do. Gotta fix that other line. And if you look right down there, you can see it dripping. Let it cool off, and then I'll change out that little rubber piece on that line there. Someday I will put solid metal line all the way back with no rubber splices, but for now, just to get it driving, even if it's just yard driving, I'll just change that piece of rubber line. It'll be fine for now. I've drove several of them many years with rubber splices in the transmission cooler lines. I got the battery charging. May go ahead and see if it's cool enough for me to get my hands under and change out that little piece of rubber hose on that transmission cooler line. Should be good for now. I'm gonna see if I can get it to crank again. I'd like to pull it up in here to start checking the brakes on it here soon. Alright, well, battery was charged. I went ahead and tried it again. I found a pipe wrench. I was able to retard the timing just a little bit. So we'll try it now and see if it'll run better. Didn't move it much, just a little bit. So, see how it does. Might have moved it maybe 5 degrees. Maybe a little more, but we'll try it right there and see how it does. Okay, while I was sitting there charging, I tried to fix that one headlight, the inside one there on the driver's side. It come loose from one of the adjustment screws. Got it back in there, and it may just pop loose from that screw again, but it's in there for now. All right, it should be charged pretty good now. Let's see if it'll crank and see if that little adjustment on the timing will make any difference. I think it made it worse. See if I can get it turned the other way. Maybe it was already retarded too much. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I gotta get that distributor where it'll turn easier so I can adjust the timing a lot easier while it's running. I want to change that distributor out anyways, I'm pretty sure now. That one just seems to be a little wore. I did try to move the timing a little bit further past what it was. Maybe it just wasn't advanced quite enough. Maybe it's advanced too much where it's hitting on the next cylinder. I don't know. Like I said, I gotta get it where I can move it freely to be able to adjust it while it's running. But I'll let the battery charge and we'll try it again. Okay, it's been charging for a little while. Let's try it again. Gotta get the timing right. Okay, if it doesn't crank this time, I'm just going to cover it up, let it sit right there for the night. I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Gotta have a PET scan done. So, be another day or two before I get back to it. if we can pull it up inside here. I think I'm just gonna cover it, leave it there for the night. This thing's getting aggravated. Okay, went by the new battery because I got tired of the other one going dead on me after just a couple of cranks. I think the old battery's going bad, but I'll keep the old battery because it will hold enough of a charge to crank once or twice. It's one I had on my Trano, and I got a battery just like it, and so it should have plenty of cranking amps and everything I need for this one. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to crank it, run all the gas out of the carburetor I can. Then I'm going to change out from that Holley 650 to this Edelbrock 500. 500 CFM should be plenty for this engine, should actually be more than what it needs. A lot of people think you need a higher CFM carburetor for more power. You don't. This one I think is actually hurting this engine. I think it's washing the cylinders because it's pumping way too much gas in it. So I'm gonna crank it up, run all the gas out of it, take that one off, put this one on. And I'll save that one because that one's about the right size I need for my 429 that I plan to put in my 70 Torino someday. So get started. Now the gas line, I don't have it in my gas can right now. I've just got it sitting out so it'll pull all the fuel out of that line in the carburetor and run it all out, so make less of a mess when I go pull that carburetor off. Alright, that run all the gas out of the carburetor. You hear it's still popping. It's leaving way too much unburned fuel, so it's just pumping way too much through it. And I saw a spark come from my negative terminal on my battery, so I need to tighten that up too. And go ahead and start pulling the carburetor. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of vacuum leak around the base of the carburetor in the back because them two back nuts wasn't even tight. So we'll put the new one on, make sure it's good and snug, and then we'll see how it runs. You can see here, this is black. What it was spitting back was leaking. And a lot of you like to debate about Holly and Edelbrock, which one's better, which one's not. Well, this one's new and it's closer to what I need. I bought this one for the 66 F100, but still ain't got around to putting it on there yet. Still runs pretty good on the old one. And the reason I got an Edelbrock is because it was the only 500 CFM I could find. According to CFM calculator, that's what I needed for that 352. So there should be plenty, actually more than enough for this 302. Warning, using E85 fuel will void your warranty. I don't even like using the 10% ethanol fuel, but I ain't got no choice now. There ain't many places that carry pure gas anymore. But up to 10%, it should be fine on that, as long as you don't get a high concentration of ethanol. Now, first, we want to set our transfer slots. It's supposed to look like a little square. Okay, it's pretty close. See, it looks like a little square there, instead of being a big rectangular opening. Should be just fine right there. Now this one is a manual choke, same as what was on that Holly, same as what was on that pickup. I prefer having a manual choke, have more control over how much fuel it's getting and when it's getting it. Well, you can see how this has chipped that corner off, and the stud won't tighten up. It's pulled the threads out. But this hole here is threaded. I just need to get a tap, clean out the threads, and the thing about the Edelbrock is it has a hole for that one. So that's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to cover the intake hole with this rag, just to keep any debris from getting in there. There shouldn't be much because there's already threads there. I just got to clean them out. I'm going to get a little bit of lube with this. Now let's see if it'll crank and what it'll do if it does any better. Okay, let's start off that new battery right and run it down right off the bat. Okay, we're not going to talk about how I run the fuel line into the wrong spot, but I did. So now I got it running where it's supposed to be. Maybe it'll actually run now. I was wondering why I got fuel to the carburetor, but it wasn't pumping the accelerator pump. Duh. Helps when you put the fuel line in the right place. Read the directions, people. I should be ready to go now. Okay. Our starter cable is getting hot and our negative cable is getting hot. So I need to take care of those before I do much of anything else. I think that starter is about to go bad too. See what happened now. Got hot. That it just melted and pushed out. So, don't need another solenoid. For now, I'm going to try jumping across like I did before, just to see if I can get that carburetor tuned in. As soon as I unhook that, it goes dead. Turn around and idle up just a little bit. Okay, I got to change that starter out. That starter's bad. I'll burn this thing down if I don't quit doing that. Okay. Let it charge, let it cool off. All the wires and everything that got hot. Try messing with it again here in a little while. Alright, my battery's charged up good now. It's cooled off. We're gonna try it again. Got the switch on. Should be ready to crank. I've got to change out that starter. And that started the solenoid. So I think I'm going to call it there for the night. It's about to rain. Looks like anyways. Today we're going to see if we can get this distributor out. It's seized in there a little bit. On the turn, I was able to get it to move a little bit with a hammer, but then the vacuum advance pod on it broke. So, which I was afraid that would happen. I wasn't worried about that distributor anyways. But I have another one on another engine, and it's another 302. Should go right in, no problem. I've got to get the starter off and the starter solenoid. And where I'm getting the distributor from, I can get all those parts if I can reach the starter. Because this one and the other one both have headers. I'm trying to get up in there in the vehicle to get to the starter. It's going to be fun. By fun, I mean it's going to be a pain in the butt. But we're going to see what we can do. First off, got to get this starter out. Then we'll try to get the distributor out. And the starter solenoid. Then we'll see if we can get the parts off the other engine and hopefully do some good then. I'm going to try and get to the top bolts on the starter with a swivel and a really long extension and ratchet. That extension may be long enough. Got that marked down at Tractor Supply. I think I paid $15 for it. That's for when you got to reach something way over there. So we'll see if it'll work. Get underneath. It's the bottom one. Okay, now here's the engine I'm robbing parts from. This engine's got to be gone through and checked out anyways. If there's something with the heads that's not right or the timing is off, it's got terrible blow-by. It was puffing out of here almost as much as it was out the exhaust. So it's not going to hurt. I'm going to put a rag over the hole when I pull the distributor out. But I just spray a wasp nest, and I think I got him. So I don't know how much I'm going to video. I didn't bring my tripod with me, but I'm going to see if I can get the starter off. I'm going to take the distributor, the plug wires, everything. I'm going to take the solenoid, and the solenoid may look a little bad, but it was good. It was working, so we'll take it too. All right, you get started. Now, for people wondering about this truck, this is 1970 F100 two-wheel drive, long wheelbase. Bought this truck a couple years ago because it was cheap and because it had the 302 and it's got a top loader 4-speed. I think it originally had a 306 cylinder, and I know it had a 3-speed on the column, or 3 on the tree. 3 on the tree, as people call it. This is a future project. It looks a lot better than it actually is. There's a lot of rust. It's just been painted over, so it's got dents all over the place. There's a bad one on the other side, but this is a future project, and I'll get to it in the future because this one's going to require a lot more attention than other projects I have. I want to get as many projects up and running and driving as quick as I can. And then I'll start going back and giving more attention to the more in-depth restorations. So yeah, this truck, it will see the road again. It just, for now, it's resting for a while. But it's got good parts on it I need that I can replace later. It's just, instead of me having to hop in the car, run to town, get the parts I need, come back, I got them right here. So, easily replaced. Everything I've borrowed off this truck, I borrowed parts off of it for my 66 F100 too. But everything I've borrowed off of it can be bought new or easily replaced. So, it'll be fine. It will see the road again. Okay, well, I got the other starter off of the F100. It's this one. This is why I wanted it, because it's new. And this is the one off the Mustang. You can see the nose cones on them, different. But I can change those out. So the F100, I'm guessing it's different because it's a manual transmission. But it's not a problem. I've checked everything else. It's the same. And it looks like this Bendix is sticking out further than this one, but that length here is different. So once I swap these out, this will be in the same place as this one. All we gotta do is, there's two bolts on the back here. Take those loose, carefully slide this out and swap them out. Okay, well, these starters are just a little bit too much different. Could have been manufactured by different companies. Remanufactured one could be metric instead of standard. So I'll swap all the parts back over like they originally were. Okay, the new one, actually no, I'm gonna leave the new one inside. And I'll just mark on it what it came off of. And I'll go and get another starter from the parts store to fit this one. All right, well, I went to town, got a new cable for the starter. This one says it's 48 inches, 4 feet. Should be plenty long enough. I think the other one was about 3 feet or so. But extra length, make sure I can route it around the headers up to the solenoid. Swapped in my old starter for this one and checked it with the old one. Everything is the same. It should bolt right in. Alright, now to some people this may look like a piece of radiator hose with some holes drilled in it, a couple of zip ties in it, but it's actually a starter cable motor mount keeper offer. Custom made. One of a kind. We'll run the starter cable through these zip ties. And then I'll get through there. I can slide it down, position this over the motor mount, pull these zip ties tight on the cable. The bolts on the starter will keep the cable from moving side to side. Pull these tight, that'll keep the cable off of the motor mount and away from the headers. So, now you can't order these. So, might have to improvise. Alright, so that part, got it tucked up in the gap in the motor mount where it bolts to the side of the block. It's tucked in there, fits perfect. Keeping the cable off everything. So that'll work. sometimes I do come up with some pretty good ideas. All right, got the old solenoid out. That is what happened to this one. Got hot. That came out. So, it's a shame too, because that was nearly a new one. Barely even used. But that one works. Just need to see if I can change out that distributor now. I'm itching to try and crank it, but that distributor, I think, is misfiring. Either that or it's advanced too much and put more strain on the starter. It's hitting before it comes to top dead center. They're supposed to be, that's why it's called advanced timing. But I think it's advanced too much where it's firing too soon, and it's still building compression when it fires and causing it to run rough. So see if we can get this distributor out. And I've got the one out of the old F100. We're going to try and put it in there. All right, when you're tired of asking nicely, you pull the distributor and get bigger tools. Now, if it's stuck real bad, it could break it, because it is just cast aluminum. But this one seemed to turn a little bit, so I think I can get it. And the engine's not at top dead center, but it doesn't matter as long as you put the new distributor, or in this case another distributor. As long as you put the next distributor in where the rotor button is pointing in the same spot, same direction, it'll be fine. It'll still be in time. All right, now that you've broken the distributor, we gotta find another way to get it out. There's a flat spot on the side of the stem. I may be able to get a wrench on it. Now, when I pulled this out, I knew where my rotor button was pointing. But because of the teeth, they have to mesh on the camshaft. When they do, it's going to twist. So you have to, when you go to put it in, you have to put it a little bit past where it was pointing. And when it goes in, it'll come back around. Okay. Distributor's changed out. I changed the coil out with the one that came off that F100. It looked like a nearly new coil. I will change out the plug wires and the cap eventually with the ones that came off that F100. But for now, the ones that's on it will work. I'll pick up some tools and stick some gas to it and see if it'll crank. Good news. I think that old distributor was bad, and do a little adjusting to the carburetor and see if we can get it to idle. Make it turn off just a hair. Okay. Timer needs to go the other way. Too much. Kept all at once with me. Right up there, snug him down. better. See if she'll do a little bit of burnout. Well, it's not going to be much of a burnout because it's on grass, dirt, a little bit wet. It'll be fun anyway. adjusting. I think one of the cylinders may be a little weak. It's loping. Could be because of the cam, but I don't know. It sounds kind of like a cylinder. I'll keep messing with it. More and more done to it. Gotta get that carburetor. It's smoking like a freight train. Got that back so you can hear it. Go a little further back so it don't wash out the mud. Alright, well I still gotta get that carburetor adjusted. It doesn't smell like oil smoke. It smells like it's running rich. Plus it's blue smoke too, so if it was oil it would be white smoke. But I think I can get it coming around. Alright, well that's gonna do it for part 3. Now I know at the end of this video it looked like it was smoking really bad. In person, it didn't look that bad. I think part of that is the angle of the camera and the way the video picked it up made it look a lot worse than it really is. But that is took care of now. I'll go into detail in upcoming videos about what I think was causing it. But it's took care of now. It barely smokes at all anymore, only just when you first crank it, which that's normal. But yeah, I've got it running good now. So, be looking for the next video. Should be next week. Appreciate y'all watching, and y'all take care.